It's the annual visit from the Bleu, Blanc et Rouge, and Rogers Place will be buzzing. In fact, it's already buzzing on the eve of deadline day. We get you set for the Oilers and the Canadiens on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Tom Gazzola with you inside the EST Satellite Studios just outside of Ice District in downtown Edmonton. Hernan Salas back at EST Global HQ. Matt Kassian, our game analyst, will be joining us in about 10 minutes' time. And we'll also be joined by our old friend, JF Chaumont, who used to be with, I think, Journal de Montréal. He is now with NHL.com, Montreal, covering the Habs, and he'll be by to give us the scoop on those Montreal Canadiens that make their, like I said, one and only stop this season to oil country. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Join the conversation. Hit us up on the text line, 780-218-9999, or in the nasty chat on YouTube. And the Oilers, it's been a busy 45 minutes, Hernan. My phone has been blowing up. Our Hello Hockey insider, David Pagnotta, kind of gave me the scoop about 10 to 15 minutes before he put it out there that the Oilers had indeed traded for Jake Walman and picking him up from the San Jose Sharks. I have had it confirmed by people from the organization. We're just waiting on the official announcement. Pagnotta saying that it's likely a first rounder going back the other way. The only other update I got was that it's gone quiet now in terms of anything else for the Oilers. Maybe a forward tomorrow. We'll see. So sounds like as of right now, that will be it on the blue line for the Oil. Okay. And maybe a forward, but we'll see if anything changes. It can change. Sometimes it does change. That is the latest that I've heard from multiple sources. And well done to our Hello Hockey insider, David Pagnotta, breaking another one. That's why he's one of the best. That's why he is on NHL Network. That's why we have gone to him for the last few years. And so to the naysayers out there, watch Pegs go to town. So there you go. Jake Walman. We're waiting for the official announcement, but he looks like he's going to be in orange and blue soon. The only other detail I got about the Walman trade, Hernan, was that earlier in the day there was just some uncertainty to his no-trade list. And they got that all ironed out. So Oilers picking up Jake Walman from the San Jose Sharks. We await the official announcement from the club.
I'm looking at his Puckpedia, and I can't find the no-trade there. But 3.4 for this year and the next. 29 years old, left shot, who can play the right, but from all accounts is better on the left, obviously. A guy that can PK, pay on your power play, has a heavy shot, gets around the ice. Well, he's having a career year, 32 points, 50 games for the San Jose Sharks. What impressive. Now, this is on the surface, right? We always take plus minus with a grain of salt, Tommy. He's been on some bad teams.
Oh, yeah.
And he's always, his plus minus is pretty damn good for being on a bad team. Sounds like he's been one of the better defensemen there in San Jose. So it's a good upgrade. Now, I know most fans are like, well, I'd like a traditional right shot, but sure,
me too.
Yeah, I think we all would want a guy that's, on the right side permanently, but Kulak can move to the right. You got some options here. He can play the right as well, but I think this is an upgrade to the top four. I think he's your 4, to be honest. And I think it's good. He's, in no disrespect to the rest of the guys on the Edmonton Oilers defensive core right now, but he's an upgrade on Klingberg. He's an update on Stetcher. And for me, he's an upgrade on Emberson, even though Emberson is still young, coming into his own, playing really well for the Edmonton Oilers so far this year. So I like it for the Edmonton Oilers. Tom, this is weird. It's 2 trades for the Edmonton Oilers this week, and the fans like it, actually. Now, we got to wait for the return. Sounds like a first rounder. But like I said on EST afternoons, the reason why I like Tampa Bay, they're always all in. They worry about picks later. When you have a window to win, you have to go and make the moves to make your team better, because the first round pick in 2026 is not going to help the Oilers.
Right.
It's not. So
that's true.
For me, we will await on the return, Tom, but on the surface, this looks like a pretty damn good move for the Edmonton Oilers.
It improves the defense, right? Ultimately. Yeah. And this defense needs to be improved. Nobody's going to deny that this blue line was inadequate or underwhelming to go into the season. There was a lot to be desired. You knew that there's a few holes. They made a patchwork of it. They brought on John Klingberg. That is still a work in progress, let's call it. And it was glaring that they still needed to bolster it. So, we've talked about it. Maybe Kulak slides over, you're just saying. And ultimately, you have better quality defensemen all of a sudden on the team than you did earlier in the day. And you work with it that way. And you're right about the draft picks. And are you in win now mode?
Yeah.
Then there's a sacrifice to be made.
You can't be loaded with draft picks and be a Stanley Cup contender. That's just the way I see it. And Tom, people are now saying, I'm not going to get into that. He's better than Bouchard and all that. Bouchard's having a down year. We all know that. What's good is he's going to play the right because Kulak and Nurse are not moving to the right. Maybe Kulak will, but I foresee it now. People are asking who's out once Walman comes to Edmonton. I think it's going to be between Klingberg and Emerson for that final spot. And then who knows what happens with Stetcher. Tom, do you agree with that?
I 100% agree with it. Even months ago, we were saying, you need to upgrade Stetcher. You need to upgrade Travis Dermott. You need to upgrade Josh Brown. And, they tried the Klingberg thing. The team has not played well with Klingberg in the lineup. No. That's not on him. You knew it was going to be dicey. You knew it was going to be an adventure. Who knows? Maybe Klingberg's game does start to come around. His high-end potential, or at least what he's shown in the past, certainly indicates that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And this bolsters the blue line, makes it better, gives them more legitimate defenders, and a guy that can add offense from the blue line. So I think it's ultimately good.
And
makes the defense better.
Tommy, he brings the gritty dance too when he scores. So I'm looking forward to
it. He does. He does.
Hey, Tom, I want to ask you this. I like this move because no one was talking about Jake Walman. To me, it's not to the extent of the Ekholm, because I find Ekholm is probably a tier higher. But this is very similar, where a guy that no one was talking about, no one brought up his name, Tom, but it's a hell of an acquisition. I think it's close to what the Oilers did with Ekholm, because remember when they acquired Ekholm, Tommy. Well, maybe you knew different because you have more connections and all that. But
I was surprised by that one.
Yeah, no one knew Ekholm was even a trade target, or Nashville was willing to move him. And to a lesser extent, obviously, I think Jake Walman's kind of in that. Good job on the Oilers for going out and finding a quality defenseman.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So we await the official announcement, but the deal's pretty much done. Jake Walman headed to the Edmonton Oilers. Well done, Dave Pagnotta, breaking that, our Hello Hockey insider. I'm not laughing or anything like that about this, but the idea of Colton Parayko going to the Oilers, completely far-fetched. I just want to add this. And then today, we find out Parayko is getting a scope done, and he's going to be banged up for 6 weeks, which sucks because he's a great player, local product, a very likable guy. But it puts that idea to rest, and now we don't have to talk about it. So that part of it's good.
Tommy, I just want to address this. X-Ray J says, what the hell are you talking about, Hernan? Highest point total, 21 points before getting all gravy Sharks minutes. Klingberg point, lowest point total, max 50 games, is 3 points higher than Walman. Yeah, but we're talking about guys in different stages of their career, Tom.
Yeah.
Walman's going to be ahead of John Klingberg.
100%.
If we're talking about John Klingberg with Dallas and comparing him to Jake Walman now, that's pointless because John Klingberg is not that player anymore. And again, correct, like Tom said, this is not the team struggles are not on John Klingberg. I think he's been fine. I think sometimes he lacks a little bit of the foot speed, but there's nothing wrong with John Klingberg being your 6'7", interchanging with Emerson if that's what they wanted to do, Tom. So I think and like I said, Jake Walman's on a career year. He's got 32 points. He's probably going to eclipse 40, maybe get close to 45, especially on a team like Edmonton, Tom. So. I think the comparison's enough with John Klingberg and Jake Walman. We're not comparing the two. I'm just saying Jake Walman was acquired to be in the top 4.
Fair point. Very fair point. All right. We need to get to starting lineups for this one. Oilers and Habs. I've been sent photos from Ice District, people lining up to get in the arena. There are a lot of Habs jerseys already there. They have taken over. I was walking around Ice District earlier, went for a quick activation, and there was a lot of Habs fans standing outside the valet area at the JW waiting to catch a glimpse of their favorite team. And the atmosphere in the building is going to be awesome. So let's get to your starting lineups, brought to you by South Fort Chev. They're officially in truck month, which comes with deeper discounts and lowest interest rates on Silverados and HD, 0% for up to 72 months on Silverado Custom and Custom Trail Boss. The Silverado is built in Canada. I love that. 90-day payment deferral or $10K cash back with the purchase of a new vehicle. Conditions do apply. See dealer for details, www.southfortchev.com. Drive a little, save a lot at South Fort Chev. The Oilers, McDavid, between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Arvidsson. Henrique centering Janmark and Brown. Kapanen between Max Jones, who you're going to hear more about from Cass right away, and Corey Perry. Jones making his Oilers debut, recalled from Bakersfield after being traded a couple days ago by the Boston Bruins in that Frederick deal from Boston to Edmonton. On defense tonight, Kulak with Bouchard. We think Nurse with Emerson or Nurse with Bouchard. There's probably going to be a rotation there. We'll confirm that a little bit later on. Cam Dineen, making his Edmonton Oilers debut, the 26-year-old. He has played, I think, around 30 games with the Arizona Coyotes, so he's not a stranger to the National Hockey League. The third pairing, Dineen and Stetcher, is expected. Out for tonight, Jeff Skinner. For the Montreal Canadiens, we saw them roll out this lineup recently. Nick Suzuki between Cole Caulfield and Yuri Slavkovsky. Owen Beck between Alex Newhook and Patrick Laine. Christian Dvorak with Brendan Gallagher and Josh Anderson. Jake Evans between Emil Heineman and Joel Armia. On defense, Mike Matheson with Alexander Carrier. Jaden Struble with Lane Hudson. Wi-Fi, Arbor Xhekaj with David Savard. And David Savard's name popped up a lot throughout the year as a potential trade target for the Oilers. Maybe the Habs don't want to trade him anymore. It looks like the Oilers have their guy in Jake Walman anyway. So that brings us to your starting goalies for this game. That's 26-year-old Stu Skinner going for the Oil. Skinner 22, 21, and 3. Pardon me, that is not right. Is that right? He is 20, 15, and 4 with a 287 GAA, 897 save percentage. Sam Montembeault is 22, 21, and 3 this season with a 290 GAA and 899 save percentage. So there you go. Those are your starters. Montembeault versus Skinner as we roll into the Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. If you have a nagging pain you'd like to see go away, book your consultation today at www.advantagesportsmed.ca. For the Oilers, no Mattias Ekholm, day-to-day. Illness, John Klingberg, day-to-day. Undisclosed, Trent Frederick, IR. Ankle, Alec Regula, IR knee. Evander Kane, LTIR, abdominal surgery, and knee surgery. For the Canadiens, Kirby Dock, the local product out of Fort Sask, IR knee. Caden Gooley out of Sherwood Park, the local product and former Oil King, day-to-day lower body. And Michael Pizzetta, day-to-day lower body, as we welcome in our game analyst and former NHLer Matt Kassian for Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Before I read the liner, let's get Cass in here. Kind of want to get his thoughts on the things that have transpired in the last hour in Oil Country. Hello, Cass. The Oilers look like they have their D-man in Jake Walman. When you heard and saw that, what did you think?
Yeah, well, they have a D-man. Their D-man, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll find out. Jury's out on this one, Tom. Like, I get where you wanted to make a move. You needed to make a move for a defenseman. I still would have liked a right shot guy.
Yeah.
I still really would have liked a right shot guy. So it's not a head scratcher. You've lost a whole bunch of games in a row. You needed to make something happen. He's a guy that hopefully brings some stability and some veteran experience, but not too much veteran experience to your defensive core. Is he the first guy that I thought of? Had he even really crossed my mind at all?
Right?
No, he didn't. So I want to see how that pans out. If this is the only thing that they do, I'll still be a little nervous, Tom. I won't lie. So it's a good move in that you did get more depth at the least on your blue line. Is it the move that gets you across the line to where we're like, they got Jake Walman, they're steady now on D? I don't think it's quite that, which is, again, maybe there's more coming from the Edmonton Oilers. We'll have to wait and see tomorrow. But for now, it was a step in the right direction. I just don't know if it was enough of a step.
Hey, and that's fine. That's fine to think that. Cass, the latest update in terms of any more coming, I just was told maybe a forward. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But nothing cooking for the rest of tonight, apparently.
Sorry, did you? I just Saravalli just. I don't know if you saw this, but he's saying that Edmonton obviously is on their way to completing the deal. I guess there are some roster constraint issues. Tonight's lineup was an adventure, he says. But he also adds that but maybe some time before they can completely announce this deal. So it might not even go down tonight officially.
Correct. Yes, correct. But by all accounts, the deal is pretty much done. And then again, earlier there was some stuff to do with a no trade and if he had one, if he didn't have, like where he could go, where he couldn't go. And there's people asking, or they didn't see if he had a no trade on Puckpedia. But as we've learned this week, they can be revealed months after the deals are signed, evidently, as we saw with Victor Arvidsson and Adam Henrique on Monday or Tuesday, I think it was. So anyway, it's done. By all accounts, it's done, and we await the official announcement. The Oilers look like they have one defenseman added in tow, and Jake Walman is the guy that we're talking about out of San Jose. All right, let's get to this game tonight. Oilers and Habs as we roll on into Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian. Game Changers is always brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, consistent, top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Cast numero uno tonight, Max Jones.
Max Jones stepping into the lineup on an emergency basis. The lesser part of the trade with the Boston Bruins, not a newbie by any stretch. You know, he's 27 years old, but he is a large individual at about 6'3", and we have talked at length, and it's become more and more of a thing to discuss, to point out about this team that they don't play with a lot of oomph. You know, they don't play with a lot of heaviness behind them. They're not a team that's winning right now any battles anywhere all over the ice. And I know it's tough for me, as it probably is for everybody else, to look at Max Jones and to have these expectations coming in that just this one player is going to completely revamp that and revitalize everyone, and now everyone's going to go fight. Like, it's not going to do that. However, having a bigger body that has the ability at times to press the other team, to play a little physical, to try to drag guys into the fight. I think your Hello Hockey co-host Sean Bell once told me, Cass, they got no dogs. And what he meant by that is they don't got anyone that just drags them into the fight, right? That pulls them along and is just scrappy and gets them into it. And maybe, just maybe, Max Jones can add a little bit of that for you as the Edmonton Oilers. So, hey, it's not like it's Connor McDavid making his debut for the Oilers tonight, but maybe Max Jones brings a little bit of life to a group that's been largely lifeless and incredibly fragile.
Jones spent the last 6 seasons in the Anaheim organization, was an NHLer predominantly, or didn't spend any time in the AHL until this season. The last time he had a look in the AHL was 2019-20. So he has been an NHLer for the last 5 years. Bruins had him down in the AHL this year for the most part, but he's topped out at 19 points 2 seasons ago, 77 penalty minutes that year, and a -21 in 69 games. He does look like he mucks it up. He's 6'3", Cass, but like, how much spark can a fourth line guy give you, or third or fourth line guy give you?
Well, you're hoping he gives you that, a little bit of the mucks it up, right? You're hoping he gives you a little bit in the corners. Now, he's a guy that he can put up some points, but it's going to be third line, fourth line points where they're going to be the grittier around the net type of points, which you don't mind if he's doing that. So what are you hoping from him? You're hoping from just that simple game, and you're hoping that he goes to the corners to get pucks, and you're hoping he drives the front of the net in the offensive zone, and you're hoping he causes a little bit of a commotion there, because the Oilers, particularly in the last couple of games, have been much too perimeter. They really have been. It's been all around the outside, and anytime there's a battle, whether it's on the interior of the ice or on the outside, they've lost it. So you're just wanting somebody to go out there with a little bit more gusto, with a little bit more edge, and again, hopefully just drag you into the fight versus watching on the outside.
Before we dive into point number 2, for a guy like Jones, who is going to get a shot tonight with his new team after getting traded this week, Cass, there aren't a lot of guys on the team like him. It's pretty easy for him to carve out a spot on this team right now, don't you think?
You know your role. Isn't that an old WWE thing with The Rock? You got to know your role.
Know your role. Shut your damn mouth.
Yeah, right. That one.
Yeah.
If you can smell what The Rock is cooking.
There it is.
And that's, there's something to that here for Max Jones, where you got to know your role. You have to, like, the writing. I don't even want to say it's just like the writing's on the wall, because it's not on the wall. It's just so dang evident for everybody that it's like, well, yeah, if you go out and you play super physical, you're going to provide something that this team hasn't had, and then you were brought in here for. Like, if I don't think you need to go, we talked about this on Two Guys today, I don't think you need to go just say, hey, let's fight to anybody and fight your first shift. Like, I don't think that's what you need. I think what you need is you need to go take a run at somebody and force somebody else on the Montreal Canadiens to deal with you. That's what you need for the Edmonton Oilers, and let's hope he can bring that tonight.
All right, that was point number 1. Max Jones getting his first look in Oilers orange and blue. Point number 2 on Game Changers tonight, Max fragility.
Well, this is where we're at, isn't it?
Very much so.
It's not even like you get dropped and it's a glass that you drop and it breaks. It's like you breathe on them and they shatter in this moment. Like, it is about as fragile as you get for the Edmonton Oilers, which is just bizarre for me. The more I've chewed on this, the more I'm like, this is just weird that this group is this fragile. Like, you should think a group not only that has veteran guys that were within a goal of the Stanley Cup, but has veteran guys that have played in a variety of situations, and has veteran guys that have been on the Edmonton Oilers when they've been down in games and have found ways to battle back because they have the ability to punch offensively and to claw back into games. But recently it's just like, man, one thing goes wrong and it all goes wrong, and it just completely evaporates. Any semblance of confidence is just disappeared for this group. And how are they going to manage that, Tom? Again, Knobloch has said that they're a fragile group. Perry has said that they're a fragile group. Everyone has identified that this is a fragile group. So it is an environment heading into this game where you're at home again. You got embarrassed, absolutely embarrassed the other day playing at home. And Tommy, you got to figure out a way to not be fragile, because I guarantee you something's going wrong at some point. Something is going wrong at some point. So for the Edmonton Oilers, dealing with that fragileness and finding a way to not just blow up when something doesn't go your way tonight is absolutely essential.
All right, that was point number 2, Max fragility. Chris Knobloch calling his team fragile, I believe, 3 times in the last week and a half. We'll see if the Oilers can handle a little bit of a tough time and not fall apart like they did after goal number 2 on Tuesday. against Anaheim. It is Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, of course, with The Agency. Point number 1, Max Jones. Point number 2, Max Fragility. Point number 3, Cass, great way to round it out, Max Effort.
That's the way you work out of these things, Tommy. I like the effort at the start of the game against Anaheim, and then it just disappeared and fell apart. The easiest way to get out of a slump is to work your way out of a slump. And the easiest way to work your way out of a slump is to put in all the work, to put in all the feels, to put in everything you can. And sometimes it still takes some time. Sometimes, you're fighting it, and mentally, emotionally, physically, you're fighting it, and it takes a little bit of time. But I tell you what's not going to get you wins. I tell you what's not going to get you out of it is playing perimeter hockey and going through the motions and floating. That's not going to do it. And we've seen this Edmonton Oilers group try to play that way, and it doesn't work. They have to play fast, they have to play aggressive, and they have to play, we'll go to my favorite word of last year that we used all the time, with intentionality. And it's something that this last 2 weeks or ever since the break, they haven't had. It hasn't been there. But that effort, Tommy, we have to see it tonight. Like, I would cringe. Like, if they come out with a weak, soft effort tonight, I don't even know what we're going to talk about. I don't even know what we're going to say. Like, I'm just going to be so. Well, I guess
do everything we did the other night, and it was a lot of fun.
You're right. Okay, I take that back. I do know what, but I don't want to, because we shouldn't have to.
Yes.
Right? Like, it shouldn't be back-to-back in particular with that type of effort and that type of game. So I guess you're right. I do know what we'll talk about. But, Tom, I'm just really hoping we don't have to.
I'm with you 100%. And I know what you mean by you don't know what we'll talk about, but it'll probably, if it goes sideways, be the same 3 topics that we've been just harping on for the past better part of a month, actually, with that small break with the Four Nations face-off. Cass, I'm going to read this text. It came in from our buddy Hersey. Hersey's brother, Josh Bahura, plays in the NHL. You might know the name. Hersey says, my brother was Max Jones' roommate in Anaheim for 2 years, said he's one of the nicest guys, super down to earth, had a tough go in Anaheim, works his bag off, and was well-liked by the guys. Cass, you've played on multiple teams, you've been traded. How important is that element of that side of the game?
Yeah, when you're a third line, fourth line guy in and out of the lineup, you have to be well liked. You can't be a prick and be a guy in that spot, or you will be gone in a heartbeat. Or you should be gone in a heartbeat. You have to find ways to impact your teammates that aren't necessarily only on the ice, especially when you're in and out of the lineup. You're not playing a ton of minutes, so it doesn't surprise me. It's good to hear. You want him to bring that, and especially as a guy that might play a little bit more of that physical crash and bang style, which they need.
Yep.
You want those guys to be well liked in the room, right? You want them to fit in. You want everyone to get along and to feed off of their energy and feed off of what they're able to do on the ice. So it's hugely important. I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear he's a good guy. Not that I thought he was, some raging lunatic that they would all hate. Right. But hey, good to have a little confirmation on that. So hopefully he can have an impact and step into this bottom 6. And because if you look at it, with Frederic too, it's like, well, if you have Jones and you have Frederic come in, and then maybe Evander Kane, maybe not, but maybe, well, all of a sudden your bottom 6 is completely different, and you may have a lot more grit and guts and aggressiveness in there, and I'm here for it. So could be a good thing. I want to see Max Jones excel and play well, and his teammates to love him.
Let's bookend Game Changers with a thought on the Jake Walman deal. This is from Ryan Rashog from the Got Your Back podcast. You can hear Shoggy with the boys on the Nielsen show every Monday at 8:30. Shoggy saying, sounds like it'll be a conditional pick and a prospect for Walman once it gets finalized. Also looking like Oilers maybe taking the full cap hit, confirming the sense that we had earlier today that they'd most likely be using the Kane money. Could be a bit before everything is sorted out. So as they take care of that end of things with the deal done in principle, perhaps a good indicator that Evander Kane and the Oilers have said, all right, let's just wait till the playoffs here.
Yeah. Yep, and we started to get inklings of that earlier today, and that would make the most sense to me, where you have some certainty or a little bit more certainty that he is not going to be ready, which also means you probably are not going to be trading him. Even you might try, but most likely you're not going to be trading him. Correct. You actually need his LTIR space most likely then moving forward, so you're going to keep him on the roster until the playoffs. And yeah, Kane maybe just realized, hey, I'm not quite there yet, and said, well, we should just wait here, which ultimately from a cap standpoint for the Oilers is the best thing that could have happened given the situation.
Nice to have, it seems like, some resolution on that as the T's and lowercase J's, and I's get dotted.
The lowercase J's.
Yeah, the T's get crossed, the I's and lowercase J's get dotted. Jake Walman on his way to the Edmonton Oilers. Details to follow, obviously. Cass, great addition of Game Changers. That was maximum performance right there.
Love it, buddy.
We'll see you on the post-game show.
Sounds good.
All right, that was Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Cass bringing it. Max Jones, max fragility, max effort. And if you haven't heard, the Oilers have traded for defenseman Jake Walman to San Jose. We anticipate a pick going the other way, potentially a prospect as well. All the insiders are trying to decipher that right now, but our boy David Pagnotta first on that trade. And by all accounts, Hernan, people seem to like that move. All right, keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat. Couple of texts to get to here before we get to JF Chaumont, who is covering the Habs for NHL.com out of Montreal. And he's been covering the Canadiens for a really long time. Great guy, great reporter, so we'll get him on here shortly. KCF texting in says, at 5-on-5 this season, San Jose with Walman on the ice, -1. San Jose without Walman on the ice, -37. KCF, good to hear from you. The Sharks, by the way, a league worst, 43 points on the season, so a bad team. They have won 2 in a row, though. That is worth noting. 17-37-9 this season. All right, our next guest is ready to go. It's JF Chaumont from NHL.com in Montreal. And JF, no stranger to our shows. Great to have you on, as always. Trade deadline, it's going crazy already. The Oilers looks like they have their next defenseman. And, Montreal, how busy do you think the Habs are going to be, JF? Okay, we're going to have to get JF back on the line. We've got the Darth Vader voice. Nat, so you're going to work on that. I'll get to a few more texts as we get Hernan to make sure that the phone line's working properly. Let's go to RBM. Texting in, says, Walman is interesting. Was just listening around about him. Legit 22-minute-a-night guy. Bad team, though. Top 4 D-men that can skate, kill penalties, and the power play, and can play the right side. Much needed on their D-core, no question. Yet to be confirmed, obviously. But when there's smoke, there's fire. RBM, the deal's done. They're just waiting for the final details to be taken care of. Let's go to Ken. Says, guys, do you think that Kane has finally agreed to stay on LTI for the rest of the season to clear up cap for Walman? Yep. We do think so. Bad Billy says, good fact on Jake Walman. He is a big guy, 6'1" and 2/3, has legs like tree trunks, can stand his ground in front. That's good, because the Oilers need that. They haven't had a ton of it lately. Jace texting in says, does this Walman trade signal Kane is out till playoffs? Yep. Ryan from Saskatchewan says, I think this is a great move for the Oilers, a good puck-moving D-man. Can't have enough of them. This will help their ability to transition the puck, something they've struggled with at times this season, which has made them look slow. Yes, great point there by Ryan from Sask. Their inability to move the puck from their own zone in the neutral zone has been sloppy and sluggish, and ultimately, yes, make them look slow. All right, we've got JF on the line again. JF, welcome back. Trade deadline. What's going on with the Habs in the trade deadline? Hernan, the phone is not working again. All right, we'll try one more time. Maybe send JF a link, and we'll see if we can get him on. He's going to try it one more time. Let's get to some stats for tonight, and one of 9 games on the schedule. The Oilers and Habs meet for the second time this season. Of course, back on November 18th, the Oilers got shut out by Montreal, and they'll look to atone from that. The Oilers coming off that 6-2 loss to the Ducks on Tuesday. The Habs coming off 4-3 win against Buffalo on Monday. They're kicking off a 4-game Pacific Division road trip. They get the Oilers tonight. They get Calgary, Vancouver, and wrap it up in Seattle. Edmonton, of course, playing the second game of a 3-game homestand, starting it off on a very, very poor note with that 6-2 loss on Tuesday. When you look at the Habs, they've won 5 in a row coming into this one. Edmonton just 1 win in its last 7 games. And you look at the special teams between these two clubs, the Oilers power play is now at 26.5%. That's good for 5th in the NHL. The PK sitting 25th in the NHL. That's up 1 from the other night at 75.3% with 3 shorthanded goals scored. As for the Montreal Canadiens, 17th in the NHL on the power play at 22%, and then the PK 5th, so pretty good, at 82.3% with 8 shorties scored. All right, JF, are you there?
I hope so. Do I have a miracle now, or it's not working?
There it is. You sound so much better. You sounded like Darth Vader the last 2 nights. So there, I can hear JF's fantastic voice. Good to have him back on the program. We're talking about the Jake Walman trade that the Oilers are finishing up here. What about the Montreal Canadiens? This is a team 2 points out of the postseason, wild card spot going into action tonight, 5-game winning streak. What are you hearing with the Habs right now?
It's hard to predict what's going to be the plan for the Habs. I'll be surprised if Ken Hughes and Jeff Gorton are going all in and they decide to be going after big names. I still believe they're going to keep the same plan. The Habs, yes, they're pretty close for a playoff spot, but there's a lot of teams in that mix. The good news for the Montreal Canadiens, they signed Jake Evans, 4 years, $2.85 million. Evans, he's not a star player, but he's a really good sports center. He's leading the National Hockey League in terms of ice time penalty kill. They might try to do the same with Joel Armia. Armia might be a UFA at the end of the year. The Habs, Kent Hughes, Jeff Gorton, I won't be surprised if they're talking to Armia for a contract extension, but it's going to be lower than $3.4 million if Armia is hoping to stay in Montreal. Question marks with David Savard. Savard is also a UFA at the end of the year. Same thing for Christian Vorak. But I'll be surprised if the Habs are doing some pretty big moves till tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
Well, they have 5 straight wins, JF. They've been playing really good lately, obviously in the mix. What has led to this success that they're having lately? Is it one thing? Is it a couple of things? How would you describe the success that they're having right now?
No, it's probably more than one thing. First of all, they're playing well without Kaden Gooley, who's a big part of their D-man. Gooley might be out, not sure till the end of the year, but still long-term injury. Probably the main reason is Nick Suzuki. Since the return of the break, Suzuki's having 13 points in 5 games. Yes, I know in Edmonton you are used to that type of stats with Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, but Suzuki is playing really, really well in the middle of the first line. Juraj Slavkovsky is also playing better right now than it was maybe 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ago. And Cole Caulfield, for the first time of his season, 30 goals this year. At the blue line, I don't have the choice. We need to talk about Lane Hudson. Hudson might be him and Macklin Celebrini in the hunt for the Calder Trophy this year. Hudson is a really good skater, already 48 points this year, 4 goals, 44 passes. And Mike Madison, he's the guy probably in the shadow right now of Lane Hudson, but Madison is playing big, heavy minutes for Montreal. So few factors. The team is playing with confidence. 5 wins in a row. It's the best sequence of the team since 2022, so a long time ago.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking with Jeff Chaumont from NHL.com, covering the Montreal Canadiens, Habs and Oilers, closing out the season series. Habs have won 5 in a row. The Oilers, 1 win in their last 7 games. Montreal has won 2 straight on the road. You talked about Lane Hudson and the impact he's having as a rookie, which is great. Another guy who's come over to the Habs is Patrick Laine, and I know he was scoring all those power play goals, JF, but Well, how would you describe his impact on this Montreal team? Because he seems like he's a guy that's kind of rejuvenated his career with 24 points in 33 games.
Yeah, but it's up and down. Liney's having no doubt an impact playing power play, but at 5-on-5, it's harder for him. Right now, he's skating with Owen Beck, who's a young centerman of 20 years old. Owen Beck and Alex Newhook. So it's harder 5-on-5, but power play time, just like Ovechkin, he will be always at the same spot, waiting for a one-timer, but he's having a heck of a shot. So 14 goals for him right now in only 33 games. The good news is he's looking like a guy who's having fun again. He's smiling. He's having fun playing at the Bell Center. So for him, it's a fresh start that he was hoping to. And 11 goals since the start of the season, 11 out of 14 goals during power play times for Patrick Laine.
Jeff, when the Habs struggle, which they're not right now, obviously, but when they do,
yep.
What parts of their game let them down for the most part?
Probably the defensive side. Right now, it's pretty good with Alex Carrier, Mike Madison for the first pairing on the blue line. But there's a few nights where they are missing heavily Kaden Goulet. Penalty kill is better this year. They are top 10 in the league for penalty kill. And also probably the depth with the forward. Kirby Dach he's done for the year, knee surgery again, but Kirby Dach was not having a good season. So it's the first unit of Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slavkovsky. If they are having a night off, there's not a lot of resource to move the offense.
I see. JF, how about in net? I know we're going to see Sam Montembeault tonight, but Jakub Dobiš has been really good. He's put together a nice little run here. How solid are the Habs in goal right now?
Sam Montembeault is a pretty decent starter. He's having a good year, 22 wins. He's not an all-star goalie, but he's doing the job in a market where it's not easy for a goalie. Jakub Dobiš is probably one of the great story with the Habs this year. Dobiš went up during Christmas time. Kaden Primo went to Laval. Kaden Primo was not having a good year. So Dobiš might be one of the goalie of the future in Montreal, but there's also another kid playing at Boston College, Jacob Fowler, who's having a terrific season in the NCAA. So after Carey Price, they were hoping to have some good depth in front with a goaltender. So Montembeault will be there for a few seasons, and after that, it's going to be probably between Dobiš and Fowler for the future.
Hey, I know a lot of Oiler fans are very envious of the Habs and what they're getting in net right now because it's been a struggle for Stu Skinner and Calvin Pickard. All right, JF, last one for you. You know all too well what it's like here when the Habs come to town, when they come through Western Canada. I was walking around the arena already today. There were so many Bleu, Blanc, et Rouge jerseys, and some people were sending me pictures. This is going to be like a mini Bell Center at Rogers Place. How do you think the Habs feed off of that tonight?
It's a do-or-die game, basically, for the Canadiens. They don't have the choice. Martin St. Louis is telling the team that it's like playing Game 7 for maybe 20 games till the end of the year, so I'm sure they're going to be pumped. And the fans in Edmonton, it will not be 50-50 like a game maybe in Ottawa, but there's always a lot of Canadiens fans in the western part of Canada. It's the same story in Edmonton and Calgary, Vancouver, Winnipeg. So it's always special when the Canadiens are playing out west.
Yeah, I think we're in for a good game tonight. Great energy in the building. JF, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you for coming on tonight. Enjoy the game, okay?
Thank you. See you soon, Tim. Bye-bye.
Merci, JF Chaumont, NHL.com, Montreal. Absolutely tremendous. Great to have him on. Hernan Salas. All right, I'm glad we got that phone figured out. My goodness, it's been a nuisance all day, hasn't it? We got to get a Wannick back here from Mexico to fix that thing.
It's, you know what? It's really nothing. Sometimes you got to reset the board. Sometimes you just got to reset the Bluetooth. It's just sometimes turns into Darth Vader or the devil, like many people say on the afternoon show. We got it to work. He was a good sport, man. He's like, you want me to go on Zoom? Or I was like, yeah, we might. And he was an absolute beauty. Absolute Beauty. Yeah, Tom. Good conversation there. You know what's funny? We had Arpon Basu on today, and he said the same thing about Liney. He was like, like when you don't watch him all the time, you think he's just doing great. He goes, but he's really up and down. He just scores. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, I thought he was playing really well. And both guys from Montreal have said, yeah, he's okay, which I find funny.
Like a modern day Alexander Selivanov, right? Right.
Exactly. That 29 goal season with Edmonton was fantastic, and he had the best gold chain. I don't know if you remember, Tom.
I do remember that he was Tony Esposito's, or Phil Esposito's son-in-law.
Yeah,
and the Oilers got him out of Tampa, I believe.
They did.
Yeah.
I wonder who went the other way. Anyone?
I can look it up. I remember Alexander Selivanov. He had that one good year with the Oilers, Selivanov.
But it wasn't even like it was like a good first 2 months, and then he tailed off.
Yes. 2 years with the Oil, or a year and a half, 27 goal season. Then he went and played 1 year in Columbus, played 59 games, 8 goals, 11 assists, 19 points, a -11, and then went and played like 12 years in Europe. Went to Germany for a bit, couple years in Russia, Switzerland, back to Germany, second division Germany, and then the Holland League in 2011-12. Played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons with the Lightning. Married Phil Esposito's daughter, then went to Edmonton for a year and a half, then Columbus, and that was it in the NHL for Selivanov.
And he was traded to Edmonton for Alexander Daigle.
Oh,
when was Alexander Daigle? Was it like he was an Oiler for like an hour or something?
Maybe it was like a 3-way deal. Let's see here. Traded from Philly to Edmonton for Andrei Kovalenko. And then that same day, traded from Edmonton to Tampa for Selivanov. So, yeah, that was a 3-way deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because on HockeyDB, it just says Daigle, and I'm like, that can't be right.
It 3-way deal. And then Daigle played 2 years in Philly.
Tom, we got the pairings.
Okay, what do we have?
Nurse with Stetcher.
Okay.
Kulak with Bouchard.
Okay.
Cam Dineen with Ty Emberson.
Interesting. So would that tell you that we should expect Dineen to get a regular shift?
No. I think he's going to play. Tom, he might be around that 6 to 8 minute mark, if that. I think they're going to roll these 5 guys. Darnell, Nurse, Bouch. They're going to get a lot of ice time. So, lots of ice time.
All right, that's going to be interesting to see. Do we have Montreal Canadiens lines? Have they changed anything up? I know I had some from the other night. Maybe Arpon has them. I'll take a quick look. Or maybe JF even. But let's see if Arpon put anything out there. No, I don't see any lines. Do you see any lines? No,
I do not. Been searching the web. The X machine, and nothing. You know what, Tom? Back to Jake Walman. I kind of like what Cass said, where, like, I think it's an upgrade. I think there's a quality player here that the Oilers are getting. Is it the splash that's gonna take this team to the next level? And I think, like Cass said, it's wait and see. I mean, is it a Brandon Carlo type, or just some of the bigger names that were out there? No, but I still think it's an upgrade. Now, is it enough of an upgrade to take this decor to another level? I think that's the big question, and that's the big wait and see. But I do think it's an upgrade, Tom, and I do think he's a quality player.
The Oilers' blue line with him is improved overall.
Yes, 100%.
That's the baseline there. Now, how the chemistry, where Walman will play hypothetically, where Kulak ends up is yet to be determined, but there is some flexibility there. And, you've seen Kulak play on the right side with Nurse quite a bit earlier this season. Yeah. Could that be an option? I think so. Is it ideal? No. But the blue line and the personnel on the back end today, now with Walman being acquired, better than what it was a few hours ago. Right?
Yeah, 100%. I can't disagree with that. I think, and just by the reaction on the inbox and on the nasty chat, Oiler fans are liking this, and that's 2 trades right now that the Oilers fans are on board with. We'll see. Tom, you said it. You've been told possibly another forward. So they're like Walman. They're done with the defense for this year.
All I was told is there's nothing else right now today, but there might be a forward at some point tomorrow.
Okay,
that could change. That was I was just mentioned to me. It's like, hey, maybe a forward. We'll see. But as of the rest of tonight, nothing. But yeah, it's interesting how someone who wasn't on the radar, when his name is tossed out there and you look at the stats, you look at the body of work and you go, that's not bad.
No, it's not.
Oiler fans go, instead of being like, that's garbage, I don't like that, why didn't they get so-so? Most, which is nice to see, it's a breath of fresh air, like, interesting.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I don't mind the idea of this. There's something there. They look at the positives. Hey, blue line's better. This guy could play. Where does this guy go? How does it arrange the rest of the blue line? That is a breath of fresh air, I will say. Instead of being like, that is a crap.
There's a few, Tom, but
you're not going to please them all.
Yeah, the majority is he's an upgrade on at least 3 of the Oilers defensemen. Now, if you want to discuss other guys, we're open to it, but right now he's an upgrade on Stetcher, on Emerson, and on Klingberg.
Right. This text comes in from Ian, says, I'll take the -1 on a -68 team as a great stepping point. Fair point. Yeah. Stanley in YYC text says, wasn't Selivanov the one that scored 4 goals in a game and then Safeway changed their score and went from 4 to 5?
I think so. Yeah. Maybe. I remember that game. Yeah, he was here in Edmonton too. And I don't know about the Safeway thing, but I remember his 4-goal game. Like I said, Tom, he was I remember October, November. We can probably find his game log. He was on fire, man. And then he tailed off, and I think he might have had 18 goals in the first 2.5 months or something like that. And then he completely fell. Well, he didn't completely fall off, but definitely slowed down.
27-goal season in, was it 98, 99? No, 99, 2000. In 98, 99, he had 14 goals, 19 assists, split between Tampa and Edmonton. And then, his career lasted 1 more year in the inaugural season in Columbus, 8 goals, 11 assists. And then he went and played in numerous different leagues, mostly in the DEL in Germany. But Alexander Selivanov, always one of those kind of obscure Oilers references. And you're like, oh yeah, that guy, he was kind of good. I think there's Kovalenko and Selivanov. And Zdeno Cigar.
The tank was a beauty, man. Oh
yeah, he was.
I have all the time in the world for Andrei Kovalenko, number
on
51.
The darts.
On the darts. Just amazing.
Amazing.
I love that game. Was his teammate and tells us stories.
That's the best. I love that. That's the beauty of having the resource that is Joaquin Gage, because he played with those guys in the mid 90s and early 2000s. So he's always got a little bit of insight. It's fantastic. Okay, I have Habs lines really quickly. Confirmed Suzuki with Caulfield and Slavkovsky, Beck between Newhook and Laine, Dvorak with Anderson and Gallagher, and then Evans between Heineman and Armia. On defense, Matheson with Carrier, Struble with Hudson, Jacky with Savard, Sam Montembeault starts in goal for Montreal. As for the Oilers tonight, you've got McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Arvidsson, Henrique between Janmark and Brown, Kapanen with Jones and Perry, Nurse paired up with Stetcher, Kulak with Bouchard, and Dineen with Emerson. No Jeff Skinner. Klingberg injured, Ekholm illness, Frederick ankle, Regula knee, Kane, LTIR, abdominal surgery, and knee surgery. We're led to believe now that the Oilers are finalizing this deal for Jake Walman that Kane will likely not return during the regular season. Montreal's IR looks like this. Kirby Dach, knee. Day-to-day is Caden Gooley, lower body, and day-to-day is Michael Pezzetta, also lower body. Hernan Salas, final thoughts from you.
Yeah, I think the Oilers win tonight. I said it on EST Afternoons. I just can't imagine the Oilers coming out flat, playing another bad game. They're going to roll tonight. They're feeling good. They know they got reinforcements coming. I think they're going to win. I think you're going to see Skinner want to bounce back and play well. I think Connor and Leon, the core of this team, is probably pissed off being called fragile for the third time in 2 weeks. And I think they're a little bit embarrassed about what happened on Tuesday night. So for me, this is a no-brainer. Edmonton Oilers win this one tonight, and it will be a happy post-game show.
Oh, I like that. Quick stat on the Oilers and the Habs. These two teams, the Oilers have a 6-4 record against Montreal in the last 10 games. The Oilers have won 2 straight at home versus Montreal, and 4 of the last 6 Oilers victories over the Habs have come in overtime. So you're saying there's a chance, Hernan Salas.
I do, yeah.
Oh, I like it. I like it. A big thank you to JF Chaumont from NHL.com Montreal, and to everybody who watched and listened. Big audience on the YouTube side today. I'd love to see that. Hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new to EST, we have an awesome station, best in the city for Edmonton sports. Welcome. You can catch us on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and of course, watch us here on YouTube. That's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. For Hernan Salas and Matt Kassian, I'm Tom Gazzola saying enjoy the Oilers versus the Habs. We'll see you on the postgame show. Ciao for now.